Hello, family. Thank you for coming over to the house tonight. And just kick off your shoes and relax your feet. Party on down to the SK beat. We're kicking, just kicking, just kicking. Okay, you don't come to another episode where we're going to be asking the question of, why you telling my business? Don't be telling my business. Why not? Because a can and a can, a can, a can, and a wheel. Now we're off to... Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming back to Make It Make Sense. And we're going to try our best to understand or maybe believe Tom Hanks and what he says. He never heard of Black Wall Street. He never heard of Tulsa, Oklahoma. He never heard about the massacre. It wasn't taught to him in school. Now, he lived in California, and I'm pretty sure he lived in the middle class part. But then again, I'm trying to say, during this interview that we were looking at, that made me want to do this story, I wonder if he said Compton. But I'm sure in every county, you have a good section, you have a bad section. So, but what Tom Hanks is wanting us to believe was that he was never taught in elementary, middle school, or high school in the category of historical events. He never was taught about this massacre that happened to this black race, or the black race, back then in the 1900s. Okay, so we're going to take a listen to it, and y'all sit up here and tell me what y'all thought in the comment section. Did he actually was, innocent in all of this? But I'm like, not so, because I'm sure segregation was around. So you still know how the white person or people treated the blacks. And that was a massacre in itself, to try to dehumanize us, to make us think we're lesser than. And we're not privy to anything that life has to offer to us. But enough of what I had to say. Let's just listen to what Tom Hanks gives us as commentary.
I read a New York Times piece on a 100-year-old survivor of the Tulsa Massacre. And my question was this. What's the Tulsa Massacre? I was taught American history every 3 years growing up. 5th grade, 8th grade, what comes after 11th grade, and then I studied in junior college, and I've read it ever since for pleasure. How is it that it wasn't until 2 years ago that I heard about the Tulsa Massacre? How is that possible? I've heard about Custer's Little Bighorn. I heard about the Alamo. I heard about the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire. I heard about all kinds of disasters in which people died. But I had never heard about this thing that happened in 1921, only 3 years before my dad was born. In the same year that Donna Reed was born, we didn't hear about this thing that happened in which essentially one of the most successful black communities in America, Black Wall Street, in which everybody was not only burned out of their homes and their businesses, but then driven out of the city limits by an angry mob of, I'm sorry, white people. How is it that this was not taught to me? Because I tell you, at the age of 10, when I was in 5th grade, living in Oakland, California, that would have been a moment of enlightenment for me. That would have told me something very, very different about the city I lived in. Not just American history or the city of Tulsa. And it made me mad. It made me mad that somebody had somehow made an editorial process of what was appropriate for us to learn about our own American history. It made me angry that it took until I was, I'm 60, I'll be 66, just about 2 weeks after Juneteenth, I'll turn 66. And it took me 54 years in order to find this out. It's not right. It's not right, and it's doing a disservice to all of America. That's what happened. Nobody alive today is guilty over of it. Nobody alive today is to blame for it, except perhaps the people who said, let's not talk about that. That's not right. We should be able to talk about all of these aspects. So they will teach us more of the fabulous story of our diverse history and understand where we all come from. I knew more about my Portuguese heritage than I did about being black and living in Tulsa in 1921. That's not right. It's not what an education should be, and it's not what the grand, I think, lesson on even something as basic as our Pledge of Allegiance should be, when we're going to dare to say the words with liberty and justice for all. We didn't have a moment. That was not liberty and justice for all, and that's not right, and it made me mad.
So,
I will tell you, I read it.
what do y'all think about what Tom Hanks had to say, that it was not a part of their educational programming in their schools, or at least the school that he went to, or the schools he went to, I should say. They never knew anything about the massacre of a large amount of black citizens doing their own thing in their own community, their own state. And he said he never, ever heard about this. And it is a travesty. And Tom Hanks, we need you to speak more openly about that for the rest of your life. We need you to boycott every school system throughout the world, even globally, to mandate that they learn how your race, the white race, stole, begged, borrowed, and built off the backs of brown people, black America. Because evidently somebody's not getting it. And it may just be the elites, you know. It may just be the elites. But that doesn't surprise me. Hell, they've been stealing all of blacks' contributions of what they brought to the forefront that the white man stole from them. And I'm talking about patents. I'm talking about inventions. The start of some type of revolution. Okay? Begged, borrowed, and stole. Lied, begged, borrowed, and stole to get what they wanted, how they wanted it, and when they wanted it. And they didn't care. They didn't do anything good towards the Native Americans. Damn sure didn't do good towards the black Americans. And now they're looking at the Latinos, okay? Which is a part of the brown race as well. But yeah, the heritage was stole. The patents that blacks wasn't able or allowed to get at that time was stolen, meaning their inventions that we take for granted now in life. Just Google it if you just want to find out some truth. Who was the first person that did this, made that? And you will probably find out it was made and developed by a black person. Go figure. But that's all I got for this video, guys. I ain't got no more. And get down in those comments to let me know that you understood what was being presented. Do you agree with Tom Hanks's epiphanies, his dumbfoundedness that he could not believe that this happened because he never was told this? So do you think the educational system that features all white schools or predominantly white schools, what is the curriculum when it comes to black history or history itself? What is being taught? I wonder if somebody going to research that and see that it does widely don't coincide with what a predominantly black group of people are being taught, or maybe 85% black, and they may have Caucasians and other Westerners built around that or into it. Did they learn? Are we learning the same criteria, the same educational criteria that the predominantly white children are learning? And then we would have the question of the leaders of today. Why are you favoring one set of one race over the other? because it definitely shows in our SAT scores. And tell you the truth, I think they need to be done with. Done with. Meaning, there should not be an educational, uh, what do you call it, barrier to getting to the next level you want to contribute your life to, as far as a profession. Now, you know, if you were good in math, you were good in science, more than likely, or biology, you would want to be in the field of engineering, you would want to be in the field of agriculture, you would want to be in the field of being a doctor or a surgeon. Then those are the fields of study you need to acquire to be able to be successful in that profession. Now, if you just want to be a secretary, anything clerical, that should be taught in school. I mean, we should know these fundamental breakdowns of careers prior to learning the other stuff. Because that what gets me. You go through uh, kindergarten all the way up to the 12th grade, and then you have to decide, what are you wanting to do at least 3 years prior with your life. But then you have to go back and take your math, your English, your social studies, your history, and it's bullshit. If you're going out because you want to get a license or certified to be a hairdresser or a hairstylist, then go straight into cosmetology school. Learn the fundamentals that they're wanting you to learn so you could be successful. But we're always taught, see, that's what I'm saying. If the shit ain't working, change it. If the shit is working, don't change it. And I've always been a firm believer. The SATs, the what do you call it? The the SATs, the ACTs, and any other T's out there to try to not make you be a part of an organization as far as higher education. That's bullshit. That is pure bullshit. And that's another barrier that brown and black people have to go through. And once we do that, they develop some other kind of shit that's very hard to, or another barrier is put in our way to achieving what we want to do as far as a profession. And they always love to charge you money for it. That's why we're in this uh, conundrum, or what do you call it? Educational system bankruptcy type thing. Okay, that's why we're in this shitsville now, because they charge too much for education, and they probably don't pay their professors worth a dime, because I know they don't pay them worth a dime with the teachers in the elementary, the middle schools, and high school. They're not making 100 grand or more. So that's why I am with this. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed my commentary and Tom Hanks's frame of mind of why he wasn't taught this. If he wasn't taught it, I'm sure the other classmates weren't taught it. But that's all I got. I ain't got no more. See you on the next video. Bye bye.